and so the chamber's in support, a lot of the businesses are in support. So there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of activity happening in that area. This is just the gateway. Is as big as it is. It's one of a few projects that we have occurring right in that vicinity.
It's yeah, it's like the tip of the iceberg, as it were.
Yeah,
I like this little picture. It looks like Jay Gomez right there.
Yeah.
Somebody crossing the street against
Yeah.
the lights. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
He's a councilman. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But you know, how did you get so involved in all this project? Because I know, like, I'm a short timer, folks, but I know that it didn't seem like much was going on for a while, and then all of a sudden now it's just exploding on the scene.
Yeah, we're as a city, we're blessed. We're kind of experiencing a renaissance in development right now, and it's basically a wave of development. It's been a little busy since I got here. I think my second day here, I had to negotiate with bringing the Hyundai car dealership to the city. So they were negotiating us against Alhambra, and so. Trying to use some negotiating tools. We managed to close the deal. We were fortunate enough to bring them on board and bring in 40 new jobs in the city.
Beautiful. Obviously,
sales tax as well. So but pretty much from day one, to answer your question, it's been go, go, go. I think a lot of from at least my perspective, is there's a lot of opportunity here. We haven't, unfortunately, in many ways, always capitalized on it, and we have huge assets in terms of where El Monte's located. The 605, the 210, the 10, the 60, all are in close proximity.
It's a crossroads.
And we're actually looking at and talking about branding, for the city, and being the hub of the San Gabriel Valley, as an example. We have the largest bus station west of Chicago, so there's very large opportunity to capitalize, and we still have some pieces of land, fortunately, in LA County. There's a lot of built-out cities, so. We're blessed to have those opportunities and to be able to take advantage of them and find the right developers we can partner with.
Well, that's great because, like I said, I kid about it, but rightfully so. We always call El Monte the Bel Air of the San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah.
Because, that, and it's slowly becoming that, and people are going to see this. That's going to be, we'll be rocking the San Gabriel Valley. And very much in part due to this young man right here. Give him a round of applause, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you, I kid you not, this man works hard. I leave here, okay? We do our show and we leave out of here if we're lucky by 9 o'clock. And sometimes I see this man, he's still here. He's the only one left in the building. Even the custodians leave before he does. So that's tough. That man's working hard. So, and we really appreciate all your efforts, man. So I had to ask this, because somebody asked me this today.
Sure.
Is there going to be an entertainment complex? Because I know during the swearing in, the treasurer, Jerry Velasco was talking about it. I know Mayor Quintero was talking about it. Mm-hmm. Is that on the horizon, or is that still just out there in the cosmic ether?
When you say entertainment complex, you're talking about like a movie theater, or what?
No, we're talking about Performing Arts Center.
There has been some discussion about it. I think one of the things that the council has done in their last retreat is ask for an economic development plan.
Right.
And that plan will examine a bunch of different things, but one of the things it'll do is it'll say, you need to maybe examine having a performing arts center, and maybe here's some locations to consider.
Right.
One of the things that we're trying to do kind of in a lot of these developments that are occurring throughout the city is we're trying to kind of stabilize our budget, make sure that we can get enough sales tax, property tax, and jobs to really provide the city with some funding to do something like that, a performing arts center. One of the challenges in a lot of cities that have performing arts centers, a majority of them, and from colleagues and in my experience, they've been based on redevelopment agencies, and unfortunately, the state of California
they cut the redevelopment funds.
They cut redevelopment, and that's why actually a lot of cities aren't doing any projects like we've been blessed enough to do. We've been just creative with making sure that we have the right partnerships in place and creative with the approach on our funds, but a lot of performing arts centers are almost 100% funded by a redevelopment agency, right. And so to build them, they're very expensive. The return on the revenue it's not so much a return that you would expect from a private profit-driven kind of approach,
right.
So much as a benefit to the community, in that you're providing this avenue for performing artists and cultural arts, that the city currently doesn't have. It is an area though that we've looked at, and it's something that we're going to continue to examine, and it's also going to be an area I believe that as we look at the economic development strategic plan, that kind of forecasts out in the future. It says, what is the menu of things that we know we're lacking as a city, and that is one of them. And you'd be surprised at performing arts having that, draws certain folks to your city, to your downtown, as an example. I know Covina has one.
Well, like a city walk kind of effect when you go down to
exactly.
Universal. We brought Ray Carrion. We're trying to keep him here.
Yeah.
And he's a draw, let me tell you. Well, I don't know if you saw last year's concert in the park, but like I said, he packed the place.
That's great. That's great.
And that's and we had the American Legion Stadium once upon a time here.
We did.
And that's legendary. I mean, that is just legend in rock and roll and music. Yeah. And it would just be nice, I think, eventually, if we can get as homage to that, get like a performing arts center or even another stadium. I'll take a stadium, folks.
Yeah.
If you have room in your backyard, just let me know. We'll send Ray Carrion there to visit.
Yeah, absolutely. A stadium would be great. It's an excellent thing to have as a city and attracting people as a destination. But I think one of the things that we're trying to do is try to stabilize and make sure that we're doing some of these projects. Believe it or not, like Gateway and the downtown revitalization, those things go a long way. We're actually having calls from investors that want to start buying property and investing in the area just because of the projects that we're doing. So it's a positive sign for the economy. And positive sign for El Monte.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And, so we got the groundbreaking next Thursday, and that's 3535 Santa Anita Avenue in Monte, California. 10 a.m. refreshments, 10:30 program, and 11:30 lunch. And the number there is 626-258-8833. So if people want to find out about that, you get a chance. Of course, you're going to be there. You get a chance to meet this man in person. I have to ask you.
Yeah.
What got you into this life of crime doing this? I mean, because this is a lot of work, man. I can't see many people saying, hey, yeah, throw me into the lion's den. Go ahead.
Huge project.
I guess in general, what got me into local government is I have a passion for helping people.
Okay.
And so when I was in the private sector, a lot of things like I would try to do would be just to help, people. And then I realized it was kind of odd. I opened up a newspaper one day. I was in the private sector. I was actually in manufacturing, and it was an article in the San Gabriel Valley Tribune, and it was talking about all the city managers in the San Gabriel Valley. Mm-hmm. And it talked about, why did they become a city manager? What do they like most about being a city manager, the city that they work for, and so on and so forth. And I didn't know much about what a city manager does. I just kind of was like, wow, that sounds pretty cool. What a novel idea. You might actually be able to get, have this as a career to basically help people and improve cities.
Crazy.
And so early on, basically, I found a mentor at Cal Poly Pomona where I got my undergraduate, and I ended up working for the city of Sierra Madre. And then in that city, as a very small city, you're a jack of all trades. I mean, you're literally working within each department. Then I went to Claremont, where I was fortunate enough to work in Parks and Recreation, which is, I kind of had Alex's old job
did you?
as a Parks and Rec director.
Well, I'm glad she left before she heard that.
That's a good point. But no, she knows. She knows actually. We've talked about it. We joke about it. But and then in the city manager's office. And so my goal has been to eventually one day become a city manager, and to always try to improve a city that I'm working for, and try to kind of leave the place better than you found it. And that's basically been our philosophy, and try to imbue that with the rest of our team, the rest of our staff. So.
Yeah, you do it. Like I said, you do a crackerjack job. I'm watching people.
Thanks.
It's going to be so.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate
When
it.
are we looking forward to actually it being finished? What year are we looking to?
Sure. So the buildings are going up in phases, as well as the infrastructure. The hope would be that the infrastructure will be done by 2015, so approximately about a year once it starts. Mm-hmm. Then the first phase of housing will look at probably approximately May 2015 for the first building. There will be a building that will go up right after that. We're suspecting probably about 4 to 5 months after that. And then the last building, which is the one with the retail below it, will probably take the longest because it's bigger than the others and it has retail. So that one also has elements that relate to it that just make construction a little more challenging than the other buildings. The other buildings are a lot easier to develop on. So The idea is the phasing is parcel 1, parcel 2, and then parcel 4 is what we call it. So all said and done, you know, could be as little as 3 years, could be
That's
2 years
nice.
from the date of construction. It is by far our biggest development and most complicated development.
Sure.
Has like
Would it be as
you know,
complicated as having underground parking in under the structure? So they're going to be digging down under,
Correct.
so that
That's exactly
yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah, there's
what I would
underground
imagine. you'd have
underground
to do.
parking. There's also it's actually built, and one of the things that makes it very complicated. And as we started going through the process, and we discovered this, it's on top of an old landfill, very old landfill.
Oh, great.
Uh,
Surprise.
And so that was closed down in 1959. We discovered it, and we said, okay, well, you know, we can manage this, we can do this. There's other developments that have been built on that. And so what we started doing is just more analysis and more analysis and more analysis. And the idea is just to make sure that we have experts in their fields. We had, for example, several experts in that area consulting with outside agencies as well, and making sure that we not only had that expert's recommendations, we actually got another expert to say, okay, this is their report, what do you think? And so the idea is just to make sure that the consistency and quality is there in everything that we do. Regardless of the complications, we want to make sure that, you know, that the emphasis on quality is there
Sure, well,
for
you
the
double
development.
check and you
Yes, that's
redundancies.
important.
Right.
You know, I know why Miss Vivian was asking about it because she's ready to go shopping. So she goes, well, when's the retail coming down? Yeah, I know
Or
that.
who knows,
She'll-
I may qualify to be housed there.
Oh,
Yeah,
look
it
at her.
does.
Just
Yeah, it's-
enjoy the luxury of a new
Yeah.
gateway project.
That is
that'd be
so
great.
so fabulous, you know, and it's good that you guys are doing that, you know, and I know why, because, you know, for any people that have ever visited the Montebello Town Center, they built that on top of a landfill,
Mhm.
and nothing personal, Montebello, but don't go around there during the summer. It really is bad because it sort of wafts as you go by there. I know because the 60 freeway goes right by it. But I don't think they gave it much thought. So I think it's really a feather in your cap that you're doing all these redundancies and checks and double checks to ensure the quality for our people here in El Monte. And that, you know, and that's fabulous. I mean, you know what? Everybody should have that kind of care in what they do. You know, besides Robert Colvin and Damien, there's not hardly anybody out there that does that. Can I tell you that? Oh, okay, Ray got you on. I'm sorry. Ray's over there saying, what about me?
Yeah.
That is so great. So, did you grow up around here, or where did you, you know, start your life career?
Sure. Well, I was born in Hollywood, and then grew up in the San Gabriel Valley in San Dimas, Glendora, Montclair,
Okay.
bunch of different cities, and then now I live in the city of Upland. And,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Still
it's
not
right
far.
next to Claremont,
Not
not too far. Yeah. But yeah, that's. I actually lived. Interesting story. I lived in El Monte for about 3 years, and it was right after I met my wife. She grew up in El Monte, and
Okay.
so it's kind of my ties to El Monte. My father-in-law, way back when, was actually on the school board.
Okay.
Wow.
You know, probably about, I would say 15, 20 years ago. And so there's always been a special place in my heart for El Monte. And you know, you always hear the story about, you know, it all goes back to El Monte. And one of the things that I found interesting is one side of my family immigrated from Argentina. So
Oh, okay.
my grandmother came to the United States from Argentina. She came here with 3 kids in tow, $1 in her pocket, and went all the way from Argentina to Miami, from Miami I believe to Dallas, and then Dallas to LA. But where they chose to have their first home was in El Monte on Farndon Street.
Oh,
So-
wow.
Wow.
Yeah, all the way from Argentina. So, and they lived in a very rural area. There was no, you know, where they lived, there was no carpeting. She had she has a lot of interesting stories about where she grew up and kind of the American dream.
Oh, yeah.
And she found the American dream in El Monte. And so that, you know, that kind of, you know, makes me smile when I think about some of the things that we're trying to do.
Very dynamic people.
That's great.
People from Argentina. Yeah, round of applause.
It's Argentina.
Argentina. I know.
Argentina.
My ex-wife was an Argentine. I used to tell her, she gets so
I don't know
angry. She get all angry, like, she's ready to knock me back to Buenos Aires. Anyway, no, but that's a fabulous story. I have to ask this question. I know it's so silly. You lived in Claremont, right? You said, or Montclair?
Montclair, yeah, at one time.
Okay, now I'm sure you understand the history. Why is it? I know this is ridiculous. I asked this from the Indians too. Montclair and Claremont. Was that a hard decision for them to pick? Hey, we'll call ourselves Montclair. No, we're Claremont. I mean, what's the history on that name? Do you know anything about it?
Don't know. I've always wanted to know myself, but I don't. I don't. It's funny because it's just like a tongue twister, you know. It's Claremont, Montclair, you know, and you kind of wonder how they came up with that. But yeah, I never found out while I was working over there.
Yeah, because it just seemed like, you know, be creative, okay? Okay, well, I'll call it Montclair.
Yeah.
You know, somebody really worked hard on that one. But I don't know. I'm going to find out. That's going to be my homework assignment, folks. And check back with me, and I'll let you know what the story is on that one. But I tell you, you know, we have any other projects on the horizon that we're looking at right after all this?
Boy, there's a lot. So we have Tyler Court tomorrow. We're doing a grand opening. That project, interestingly enough, I'll tell a little side story about that one. So first I got here probably about a month after I got to the city of El Monte. And I jokingly say that, you know, our team is the cleanup crew because we're constantly trying to clean things up or fix things or trying to correct things maybe from the past. And so one of the things is we got this notice from HUD, which is Department of Housing and Urban Development, Federal Department. And they provide the city a lot of money for affordable housing developments, your CDBG programs, a lot of our unique programs that service low to moderate income communities, our graffiti program. There's a lot of city stuff that's funded from this agency, millions of dollars a year. And they provided us this notice that says, you know, you basically have to pay us back $1 million out of your general fund. And you know, it's kind of shocking because we hadn't done anything with this property that we purchased. And so I notified the city manager, and ultimately we determined that we needed to go to DC to determine basically, okay, can we get a waiver on this, or can you give El Monte one last chance? We promise we'll spend this money, we'll do something good with it, right?
Oh, come on, one more time.
And you know, and that's kind of the role we were in at the time. And so we talked to some congressional leaders in D.C. And interestingly enough, it was the night that they announced the announcement about Osama bin Laden, and we were right by the White House. It was a really interesting process. There was a lot of people chanting USA, you know. So it was a pretty interesting night, but it was definitely a trip I'll never forget. We came back here, and then we got approval from HUD LA, and that saved $1 million for the city. A lot of people don't know that story about, you know, behind, you know, this Tyler Court project. It's a 20-unit housing, senior housing development. But what that would have really meant, translated to for the city, is you're talking about, if you think about staffing, you're talking about several police officers, you're talking about several city staff jobs that were saved by essentially turning a blighted property now into something very nice for the community. And we think it's one of the nicest, you know, developments on that block now. And
it's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation. A win for the seniors, win for the city, and the council. And it's a great project, and it incorporates our new design guidelines. So that's obviously tomorrow, and we welcome everyone to come out and attend. Then we have Gateway, and then March 12th we have Veterans Village, which is one of the first veterans housing developments in California. And we have folks coming out from the Pentagon for that one.
That's what I heard.
And also from Camp Pendleton, I believe we have a general coming out for that. So there's a lot of interest from folks on that one. And our hope is, and you know, I was just talking to Councilmember Gomez earlier today. I think our hope is in this process is that, you know, as nice and as privileged as the city that we are to kind of take the lead on some of these things and do some of this stuff, is that our hope is that this message gets out and that it's not just El Monte that's doing these kinds of things. It's, you know, we want other cities to do what we call off-base, you know, housing for veterans, for the military. You know, a lot of times you just find it just adjacent to base, and so we're really excited about getting, you know, veterans off our streets and partnering with excellent nonprofits, giving them jobs training, providing a computer lab for them, recreation, getting them bus passes. You know, it's right across from VFW, so we believe it's a great way to approach this challenge, I think, that every community faces, which is homelessness. and we're particularly happy that and proud that we're able to do it for veterans. And we hope that, you know, the other cities that attend these types of things, they'll do this
Follow
too.
suit, yeah,
They
sure.
won't just be El Monte doing this.
Well,
stuff,
it's a
you
small
know?
price to pay for people that lay down their lives for freedom, you know, and
That's right.
it's a crime, and it's a very tragic reality sometimes that a lot of these brave young men and women are left out of the loop. You know, left out of the loop, and I'm glad. I'm very proud that Amani is leading the way on this. I know Councilman Gomez, he was right there. He's the standard bearer for this, being a disabled Latino veteran himself and having, you know, a family of veterans. And we're very proud of him. I'm proud of the whole city council for what they're doing, supporting these projects, supporting this young man. And let me tell you, when you get a chance, you thank your city council people when you see them and then congratulate them for the good job they're doing. Well, we're going to have to get going. They sent me the high sign. So we want to thank, once again, we want to thank DAMIEN ARRULA.
DAMIEN ARRULA, thank you.
Got
Can
it.
I mention 2 more projects?
Sure, go ahead, go ahead.
So we're working on the Norms project on the corner of Santa Anita and Valley. We're working with the state on the RDA dissolution process. And then across the street from that, where there's the new Starbucks, you see that design,
Right.
we're looking at building an inline retail center. And so we're just kind of wrapping that up. And then lastly, I'll have mention one more. There's a large project, a lot of people don't know about it, but it's a 27-acre development. It's on Temple City Boulevard. It's one of the largest in LA County, and it's an industrial light manufacturing development, and that'll create, I believe it's about 1,300 jobs, permanent jobs for that development. So
Wow.
Right.
we have a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
you know, coming. So, thank you.
I tell you,
Very, very good.
fantastic. We're going to get Rick out on a job. So anyway, that man doesn't need it. Well, he's living better than most people I know. Well, thank you once again for coming on, Damien.
Thank you
Don't
for
be a
the opportunity.
stranger.
Yeah,
Keep
no,
coming back, give
absolutely.
us updates on what's happening.
Yes, that'll
Absolutely.
be.
And we'll
that'll
see
be
you
interesting
tomorrow.
to
We're
have
going to be
updates.
down there filming, getting some of the ceremonies this
Great.
week and next week as well. So once again,
Thank
you
you for the opportunity. I
No,
appreciate it. Thank
no,
you.
appreciate being our
Thank you,
neighbor.
Damon.
Yeah,
Let's hear
thank
it
you
from
very
him.
much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to go with Robert Colvin, and then we'll be right back with Ray Carrion to finish up the show.
Yeah.
Here in Almighty tonight. Take it away, Robert. That was so good, man. Made me want to pick up the pieces. Anyway, Robert's too good, man. He's like the human music machine. So just remind people once again, March 12th, 2014, Wednesday, MONTE Veteran Village will be opening up. We have a groundbreaking. You just heard the man himself, Damien, talk about it. That is Thursday, February 27th, 2014. We'll be out there covering that in all its glory. I got to get up early tomorrow because 10 o'clock we got the Tyler Court opening up. Sorry, was my mic off? Oh, is that what it was? Okay, I'll repeat that. For those people that didn't understand that and were reading lips, that was Thursday, February 27th, 2014, the Gateway Project Damien was talking about. El Monte Veterans Village on March 12th, 2014. That's a Wednesday. And, of course, Tyler Court tomorrow, which I'll be down there filming that. And it's going to be really a blast. Speaking of a blast, we have Mr. Ray CARRION in the house. Give a round of applause, please. Now, Ray CARRION is everywhere, so there's no other musician left in town because he's at Steven's Steakhouse. He's at, let's see, where were you? You were over at the San Gabriel Mission Theater. He owns Gringo's Cantina, by the way, now. Okay? So there's nobody else can get in there, you know. And when I say he owns it, he puts up tables himself, you know. And he's going to have, is this the weekend of your birthday bash?
Yeah, the Friday is my birthday, March 21st.
Okay, and he's got what I refer to as the usual suspects will be there. You got the Salas brothers. You got my primo Greg ESPARZA, my adopted primo. You got to see what else you got here, man.
Yeah, Pat Vegas from Redbone.
Right. You got Corey Silva. How do you get in there, man? He's gonna make dinner or what?
We got Sal Rodriguez from War and Berta or Espesa from Chico Band, and also
you got Tony Banda right there, man.
Chicano. Tony Banda, yeah, from Tierra and the Poncho Sanchez. Bobby Loya, Bobby Navarrete from the Midnighters.
Navarrete, man, you got that dude out, huh?
And a pleasure since it's my birthday, I'm giving everybody a treat. I'm gonna have the band Europa, my Santana band that do casinos, and I got former Santana lead vocalist Greg Walker going to be there, and then bassist, former Santana bassist Keith Jones, who also toured with John Lupani, Rocky Padilla.
Toured with who? He toured with who?
With John Lupani, a famous violinist. Yeah, and also
John
Santana.
Luponte,
Yeah,
yes.
John Luponte.
Yeah.
And Joey Navarro also from Tierra. He has his own band, and Victor
cool.
Lando